It is recording. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're not, we will go a little bit more into Illustrator, especially with the pen tool. But let me show you something really fast. I'm just going to quickly do. It doesn't really. I mean, the thing is here, it doesn't really matter, at least not in this case. When you're doing quick vector art. But let's see, hit create, and it will crash. No. All right. So again, Illustrator, like Photoshop, you have a layer system, layer setup. So layer 1. In this case, it's not something I need to worry about right now. But if you want to quickly make a quick shape, so let's say and forgive me, your name again? That's right. Drew. Yes. So with your dog bone, what you could do is if you think about a dog bone, pretty simple, right? So what I'm doing, I just basically just drew a simple rectangle shape, and I'm actually going to give it a little bit of that off-white bone color. Yeah. All right, that works. And let's see. So right now we don't have an outline for it, which is fine. We do have a nice fill color for it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go over to the basic shape here, and I'm going to hit the ellipse tool. All right. So now we've got a nice little, make a nice little circle. A little trick too, hold down Shift, makes the circle nice and even. There you go. And maybe that's a little too big. I don't know, remember what the specific name for that is, for bone anatomy. So holding down Shift, again, I'm just going to, even holding down Alt Shift. All right. And now you got a bone. And also a little quick, little quick trick too is holding down the Alt key copies the shape. All right. So let's see, we got two of these little circles, and I'm going to kind of just fit them there. And I could probably, I'm not going to group them. I'm just going to just quickly take them and I'm just going to bring them over here. Perfect. So now we've got a bone. So what you can do by selecting, drag selecting, I believe what I'm going to do now is, where are you? It's been a long time since the shape builder. So now I'm going to take the shape builder tool that's here, and as you can see, since they're all selected, now it's basically saying, okay, you want to draw a shape from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, everything, making sure that all the little red outlines, especially in here, are done. So now, voila, now I've got myself a little milk bone. So you can do several different things with this too. Okay, so here's another little trick. So you could probably take this, you can export it as a PNG and then bring that into After Effects, or let's do a little trick. I'm just going to basically select the direct selection tool, which selects the anchor points. So all vector art is basically held together through anchor points. Same thing with the motion, the motion paths of After Effects. So I'm just going to select these and making sure that I have all these are solid blue. Copy. And now let's see if this trick works. It's been a while. So I'm going to hit comp 1. I can make another comp. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to make a shape layer. Now shape layers are basically, and we'll go more into this next week, but shape layers are basically where you could put vector art, and you could build the simple shapes here with the rectangle, polygon, and star, or you can go and I'm going to open up the shape layer so you can see how it works. So you have contents. So basically that's where it holds a lot of its shape data. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the pen tool, and I'm going to bring the pen tool down here in the very center, and then look at here where it says the contents. Look when I basically click on it. All right. So what I did now, as you can see, the contents is like, oh, now we've got a little anchor point, and it's it's there. So I believe now what I'm going to do is where it says path. Path data is basically essentially the anchor point and the curves data. Don't know if this will work with this, but let's try it. So I'm going to hit the path data and I'm going to click on the little stopwatch. Basically what I'm doing is I'm recording the data. So now I'm inside the path data. I'm going to hit Command V, and nothing happened. Did I do it right? Oh man. Oh, yes. So Command V. So now I've got my own little bone in there. So now I can it's blue, but I can make it whatever color I want. And you can even, there's also another thing you can do too with bringing in Adobe vector files, if they're live vector files, and if they don't have gradient, if they don't have a lot of gradients in them, you can actually bring in Adobe Illustrator files as layers, and then you can convert them from layers, like rasterized layers, into actual vector art. So that's another little trick. But now you got your bone. So there's all these little really cool tricks that you can do. Once you know how essentially the synergy of all the Adobe programs, how they work together. Okay. So yes. So now you got your bone, and then you can also shape one. So the cool thing about, probably get a little bit into this again, we'll do a review of it next week, but when you have like a shape in here, you can basically, now you got bone, and I'm going to call this the bones, because what I can do with shape layers, every shape inside a shape layer will have their own transform properties. So you have the transform properties that are here, that's for the entire layer itself. But a shape layer, what you can do is now everything else will have its own transform properties. So let's see. And this is, again, I would say when you're starting off with After Effects, don't get try to kind of keep things as simple as you can. Sometimes it's just simpler just to have everything in its own layer than it is to kind of have multiple objects, multiple shapes inside a shape layer. So I'm actually going to take my bone and I'm going to duplicate it. So Command D, bone 2. And as you can see, now, so again, so this is the first original bone. If you go and you see, take a look. So you could see here, it's got its own anchor point. And then you can find that here. So here's the anchor point, okay? So as if I were to rotate it, that's its anchor point. Well, this bone kind of just is sitting there doing its own thing. So if you want to kind of animate something inside the shape layer or get in different animations, you can do that. So that's the cool thing about using the shape layer. But I always say start off with simple stuff first, and when you're more comfortable with it, because you can really kind of make it really elaborate, and that'll just drive you nuts. The more elaborate you get, the more organized you have to be. So sometimes I always tell people, when you're starting off with After Effects, just one shape, and then just don't worry about it, Then just pre-comp and pre-comp. But yeah, so that's it. So there you go. So now you got a whole new bone. Anybody else want to see another little After Effects trick? All right, well, let me show you. So I'm going to show you anyway. So let's say, and we'll go more into this next week. So if you want to just kind of like trace out a path, okay? This is where motion paths can come in. So let's say you drew out a path, and this could also work too if you guys maybe have like a silhouette that you want an object to kind of follow around. So I'm actually going to switch it out so this way you can actually see. So all right, so we have this little path, okay. So I'm going to actually just direct select. Oh, for Pete's sake, sorry, just bring that down there. There we go. All right, so we select copy. And now I'm going to bring that in. And you know what? We're going to just kind of, this poor corgi has to just do everything for us. So I'm going to bring in another corgi. And I'm going to just quickly transform, fit to comp height, maybe make him a little bit smaller. All right, so what I basically can do is, let's say you've got, and it could be like a specific shape. Even better, you could even just, maybe just do this. Let's just see if I can make this work. So I'm gonna basically just select our bones again, because I'm thinking, you know, corgi bones. All right, let's see if we can make this work. And I'm going to go into my position, and I'm going to click on the position right here. All right, so basically that means I activated the position information. Now, one thing to realize is that position, especially on the 2D level, it's essentially it's all anchor points. Okay, so this works. There we go. So now, what I just basically did there was I took the information from here. I would have done the same thing here, but I thought this would be much more interesting and much more fun. I took the silhouette of that bone, and I basically, you know, copied it, you know, and then I went into position when I activated it, and I pasted it. So here, as you could see, all this information here, all these little keys, these are essentially these. They're the anchor points. So let's say I actually want to make this kind of, because he's going really quickly, like really fast, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. That's it. So what you can also do is you can just select all these anchor points, hold down Alt, and take the furthest anchor point, the furthest keyframe, and you can drag, and as you can see, what it's doing is it's keeping the distance relatively the same between each other. You're essentially stretching it out manually. So I'm just stretching it. Let's see, 13 is an unlucky number, so 10 seconds. And actually, let's make it a little quicker, 6 seconds. Okay, so now, get some time. Our friend here, it's a little, and that's a little slow, so I'm gonna hold down Alt again, and I'm gonna just shrink it there. So maybe about like 2 seconds. Which is almost the same situation as before. But now, what we can do is, I'm gonna go over to the stopwatch, again, hold down Alt, click, loop out, and I'm just going to do cycle. So if you want a continuous animation, just hypnotic, it's like, okay, wow, it's going to go on forever, isn't it? Cool little screensaver if you want. But again, you know, like if you find out how all these pieces work together, you can kind of like, you know, do some pretty cool things, hopefully, you know. So yeah, and I think I'm going to stop that right now. So.